A big story is unfolding in Canada. Many years ago, from 2001 to 2021, the price of bread was too high. This was not fair to Canadian people. Now, some big companies are paying back money. They have agreed to a $500 million settlement. This is a very large amount, and it is for everyone who bought packaged bread during those years. People can now ask for their share of this money. The process to claim your part started on September 11, 2025. You need to make your claim before December 12, 2025. You do not need old receipts or proof that you bought bread. This makes it easier for everyone to get what they are owed. Loblaw Companies Limited and its parent company, George Weston Limited, are the ones who settled first. They have agreed to pay this money. This case is about a secret plan that made bread cost more than it should have. It is one of Canada's biggest consumer cases ever. This story will tell you more about how it happened and what it means for people. 2. A big secret. A big secret plan started a long time ago. It began in the year 2001 and went on for 14 years until 2015. This was a secret agreement between many large grocery stores and companies that made bread. They all agreed to work together. Their goal was to make bread products cost more money for people across Canada. This secret plan meant that these companies did not compete fairly. Instead, they decided together how much to raise prices. They even had a special way to do it, which they called the 7-10 Convention. This meant they would first raise the price of bread for stores by 7 cents. Then, the stores would raise the price for customers by 10 cents. This happened often, usually 2 times every year. This secret method made sure that all the agreed-upon bread products got more expensive at the same time. The plan affected many different types of bread. It was not just for simple loaves of bread. It also included other things like buns, rolls, and bagels. Even non-bread, English muffins, wraps, pita bread, and tortillas became more expensive because of this secret deal. The only bread not included was frozen bread, or bread made fresh in the store, like at a bakery inside a supermarket. During these years, from 2001 to 2015, the price of bread, rolls, and buns went up by almost 100%. This was a very big increase. At the same time, the price of other food items only went up by less than half of that. This big difference showed that something unusual was happening with bread prices. It was clear that the prices were not going up naturally, but because of the secret agreement. This secret plan made life harder for many Canadian families who had to pay more for a basic food item for many years. 3. The cost for families. The secret plan to raise bread prices truly hurt Canadian families in a very direct way. For many years, people paid more for their daily bread than they should have. This hidden cost was very large, affecting budgets across the country. Experts believe that Canadians were overcharged between $4.3 billion and $4.9 billion in total. Some estimates even say the cost reached as high as $5 billion over the many years the plan was active. Consider a typical family that bought just one loaf of bread every week. Over the 14 years of the secret price fixing, this family paid an additional $371.80. This extra money was taken from their pockets. For families who bought bread more often, such as those with many children, the total extra money they paid was even greater. This included a wide range of packaged bread items, not only regular loaves, but also buns, rolls, bagels, and more as part of their weekly groceries. The most difficult part was that these extra costs were not easy to see. They were small increases added to the price of bread in grocery stores. Most people did not notice these tiny changes when they paid for their weekly shopping. Because the price went up only a little at a time, it was easy for shoppers to miss the bigger picture. But slowly, over more than a decade, these small increases added up to very large sums of money that families never knew they were losing. This hidden cost affected almost every household, but it was especially hard for families who had less money. These households often spend a bigger part of their income on essential items like food. So every extra dollar spent on bread meant they had less money for other important needs, like rent, medicine, or school supplies. The price increases for bread were much higher than for other foods during this time. For instance, the price of bread, rolls, and buns went up by 96%. In comparison, the overall price of food only went up by 45%. This large difference clearly showed that bread prices were not fair. This systematic taking of wealth from Canadian families was one of the biggest consumer frauds in the country's history. It created a serious financial burden for many. 4. The companies involved. Many big companies were part of the secret plan to make bread prices higher. This plan involved two main groups of companies: those that made the bread and those that sold it in stores. At the wholesale level, the companies making the bread, two main ones were involved. These were Canada Bread Company and Weston Foods. Canada Bread was once owned by Maple Leaf Foods. Later, Grupo Bimbo, a large company from Mexico, bought Canada Bread. Canada Bread admitted its guilt in June 2023. For its part in fixing prices, Canada Bread was fined $50 million. This was the highest price-fixing fine a Canadian court had ever given. Then there were the grocery stores, which sold the bread to people. Many of Canada's biggest grocery chains were named in the lawsuit. These included Loblaw Companies Limited and its owner, George Weston Limited. Other important stores were Metro Inc., Sobeys Inc., Walmart Canada Corporation, and Giant Tiger Stores Limited. These stores were said to have asked bread makers to keep prices high. Loblaw and George Weston decided to make a deal. They agreed to pay $500 million to settle their part of the lawsuit. They also helped the government learn about the secret plan. However, the legal fight is not over for everyone. The other big grocery stores, like Metro, Sobeys, Walmart, and Giant Tiger, are still facing lawsuits. They say the claims against them are not true. They are defending themselves in court. This means the legal process will continue. There is a chance for more money to be paid back to Canadians in the future. The story of companies involved in higher bread prices is long, and consequences are still unfolding for some of them. 5. One company tells the truth. Loblaw Companies and its parent company, George Weston Limited, were deeply involved in the secret plan to raise bread prices. They were part of this plan for many years, starting in 2001 and continuing until 2015. But then Loblaw decided to act differently. In March 2015, they approached the Canadian government's Competition Bureau. This bureau is responsible for making sure businesses compete fairly. Loblaw told them about the secret price-fixing arrangement. By choosing to tell the truth, Loblaw became what is known as a whistleblower. This was a very strategic move for them. Under the Competition Bureau's rules, companies that report their own involvement in a price-fixing scheme first can get immunity from criminal prosecution. This meant Loblaw and George Weston would not face criminal charges for their part in the conspiracy. This was a big protection for the company. However, getting protection from criminal charges did not save them from civil lawsuits. These are cases where people or groups of people sue a company for damages. Loblaw and George Weston still faced many lawsuits from Canadians who were hurt by the unfair bread prices. These civil cases eventually led to the large $500 million settlement we see today. This money is to help pay back consumers. In December 2017, when the public first learned about the bread price-fixing scandal, Loblaw tried to manage the situation. They offered $25 gift cards to customers who bought bread during the affected period. Many Canadians registered online to receive these cards. Loblaw gave out around 3.8 million gift cards, which cost the company $96 million. At the time, many people felt that a $25 gift card was not enough. They believed that Canadian families had paid much more than that in extra costs over the 14 years of inflated bread prices. The public's reaction showed that the gift cards, while a big sum of money for Loblaw, did not fully make up for the hidden costs to consumers. Now, the $96 million that Loblaw paid out through these gift cards has become part of the larger $500 million settlement. This means it is counted as part of the total amount. The remaining $404 million will be paid directly in cash to eligible Canadians. If you received one of those original $25 gift cards, you are still able to make a claim for more money from the settlement. However, you will only receive an additional payment if there are enough funds left after all other valid claims have been processed. Also, any additional payment must be at least $5 to be sent out. Loblaw's decision to reveal the truth was a key moment in exposing the long-running secret plan and bringing this case closer to a resolution for Canadian consumers. 6. The court case. The big problem with bread prices needed a fix, and this fix happened in court. The lawsuit was large. It needed special steps because Canada has different legal rules in its provinces. There were two main parts to the class action lawsuit. One part was for people in Ontario and all other parts of Canada except Quebec. The second part was just for people living in Quebec. Judges in both Ontario and Quebec had to agree to the plan to pay money back. This plan was for $500 million. In Ontario, a judge named Ed Morgan approved the plan on May 7, 2025. He said it was a good and fair result. Later, a judge in Quebec also approved the plan in July 2025. The final approval for Quebec came on August 11, 2025. Both court approvals were important to make the settlement real. After this, people could start asking for their money. This claims process officially began on September 11, 2025. The $500 million from the settlement will be split. 78% of the money will go to people in the Ontario class action, covering most of Canada. The other 22% will go to people in the Quebec class action. This split depends on how many people live in each place. Now, people can ask for their share. There are special websites for this. You do not need old receipts or proof that you bought bread. The last day to ask for money is December 12, 2025. How much money each person gets depends on how many people make a claim. People who bought bread during the time of high prices and did not get the $25 gift card from Loblaw can get up to $25. If someone already got the $25 gift card, they might get more money later. But this only happens if enough money is left and the extra amount is more than $5. Payments are expected 6 to 12 months after the December 12, 2025 claim deadline. This court case helped to bring justice. 7. What happens next? The story of Canadian bread prices is not finished yet. Many important things will happen in the future to make sure people get fair prices. Loblaw and George Weston settled their cases and paid money, but other big grocery stores still need to go to court. These companies are Metro, Sobeys, Walmart Canada, and Giant Tiger. They are named in ongoing lawsuits. These stores say they did not do anything wrong. They are still fighting the accusations in court. These ongoing legal cases could lead to more money for Canadians. This amount could be billions of dollars if these companies are found guilty. Payments are expected 6 to 12 months after the December 12, 2025 claim deadline. This court case helped to bring justice. The lawyers working for the people who bought bread will use information from the first settlement. This information will help them in the new court cases. They want to get fair payments from all the companies that were part of the price-fixing plan. Also, the government is now watching grocery stores very carefully. The Competition Bureau is a government group that makes sure businesses follow the rules and compete fairly. Their investigation into bread prices started in 2015. This case showed that the old rules for competition were not strong enough. For 14 years, companies secretly raised bread prices, and it was hard to stop them. This was a clear sign that things needed to change. Now, the government is changing the rules to make sure this does not happen again. Recent new laws mean that companies that fix prices will face much bigger fines. The Competition Bureau also has more power to look into businesses. They can investigate more deeply to find unfair practices and stop them quickly. They are also looking into how big grocery stores use their land and property. Some stores might use special agreements to stop new competitors from opening stores nearby. This kind of action can limit choice for shoppers and keep prices high. This is important because only a few large companies control most of Canada's food sales. This situation, where a few big players have a lot of power, can make it easier for them to work together and do unfair things, like fix prices. The government wants to create a more fair market for everyone. They are working to protect Canadian families from hidden costs and unfair business actions. These new rules and closer checks are part of a bigger plan to improve how business works in Canada. The Commissioner of Competition, Matthew Boswell, has said this marks a new era for how Canada enforces fair competition. This means the government will be more active and aggressive in stopping bad business practices. The goal is to make sure that no company can again secretly raise the price of basic food items. While there has been a big step forward with the Loblaw settlement, the fight for fair grocery prices continues. This ongoing work is very important for all Canadians to ensure a just and competitive food market. 8. The final story. This story has been a very important one for many Canadians. It shows that big companies must act fairly. For many years, people paid too much for bread. This secret plan cost families billions of dollars in total. It hurt people with less money the most because they spend a bigger part of their earnings on food. This case was a big step for consumer rights in the country. One company, Loblaw, told the government about the secret. This helped to uncover the truth. Then, a large settlement of $500 million was agreed upon. This money helps to pay back some of what Canadians lost. Experts called it the biggest price-fixing payment in Canadian history. Many people are now claiming their share of this money. The case made many Canadians lose trust in big grocery stores. It showed that the system needed to be stronger. The government is now watching grocery stores more carefully. They want to make sure such a secret plan does not happen again. New laws are also being made. These laws will give the Competition Bureau more power. This means it will be harder for companies to fix prices in the future. However, the story is not completely over. Some other big stores still deny their part. They will go to court next. This means more money might be paid back to Canadians later. The way Canada's grocery market works still has problems. Only a few big companies control most of the food sales. This can make it easy for them to work together and raise prices. This case sets an important example. It shows that large companies can be held responsible for unfair actions. It teaches everyone that competition is important for fair prices. This was a big win for everyday people. But there is still more work to do to make sure markets are truly fair for everyone. What do you think is the most important lesson from this bread price-fixing story?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.